everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and today I bring you my Arrow Season 3 extra video. Now, of course, I did the same thing for Gotham, which was titled Gotham Season 1, The Good, the Bad, and the Evil, and basically what that video was me discussing my personal thoughts over the course of all of Season 1 of Gotham in retrospect, and of course naming out particularly my favorite characters, episodes / stories, and my personal speculation and what I would like to see out of Season 2, and also on the flip side, the worst characters, worst episodes, worst things that I don't really want to see out of Season 2 and what have you. And now it's time to do the same thing for Arrow, and today I call this Arrow Season 3, The Good, the Bad, and the Batman. Now, of course, I switched out the evil. I originally was going to call all of them The Good, the Bad, and the Evil, but then I decided, you know what, I'm going to switch it up for every single, series and how I personally felt about them. So, I'm going to just put in Batman, because as you all know, I like to joke around. I jokingly do it. I know a lot of people get pissed off when I do it, but I like doing it too much. It brings me joy inside, so I'm not going to stop. Arrow Season 3 is basically Batman Season 3. I retitled it that title specifically over the course of the season and how much they took from Batman's rogues gallery, Batman's stories, just Batman lore and mythology. The Batman mythos is basically the basis for Arrow. So that's why I retitled it Batman Season 3, and that's why this specific video is titled Arrow Season 3, The Good, the Bad, and the Batman. But nonetheless, Arrow Season 3 gave us a lot of very interesting things. I personally, looking back at it, it definitely has the same kind of thing with Gotham, where it's like, there were a lot of good episodes, but there were a lot of bad episodes. Like, Arrow Season 3 definitely dropped the ball in a lot of cases, and maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that they kept taking so much from other characters, particularly Batman, and maybe that has a lot to do with the competition, because back in Season 2, there really wasn't that much competition. Their biggest competition, I'm guessing, had to have been, freaking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is its own kind of thing, it's a part of the Marvel Universe, and on top of that, it's basically just people who watch the movies, give them a little some sun, so they can just, know what's going on in between movies, if you will. That's basically, what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is gendered for. But Arrow was its own thing, separate from the movies, and it really had a solid, epic, amazing Season 2. A lot of people like to put down Arrow, but for me, Season 2 is what got me into the show. Like, I personally thought that CW did terrible shit. I never liked their TV shows, Vampire Diaries, Supernatural, all that other dumb shit. I was never really a big fan. Hell, even Smallville, Smallville was never my show. It was like my brother's show. He was the guy who was really into it and got me into it. And I was just never into CW's content. Of course, that was back when it was called the WB, but that's another topic video. But then Arrow season came out, and I heard about it, and I was like, that's stupid. I don't really care. And then Season 2 came out, and I thought, you know what? I might as well just check it out. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people are hyping it up, so I might as well check it out. And I fell in love with the show immediately. It was amazing content, awesome comic book style. Just, gave me a character that I personally was not that huge of a fan of, which is Green Arrow. I mean, I have a specific love for Green Arrow, but I was never a hardcore Green Arrow fan. And then I saw Arrow, and I was like hooked on it. And then Season 3 comes around, and then there's a lot of issues. It's obviously they tried to experiment a lot. They tried to change things around. They wanted to introduce more superpowers, and also on top of that, you had lots and lots of competition. You had The Flash, which is on the same network and a part of the same universe, but was killing Arrow. I mean, I think the thing that killed Arrow Season 3 the most, other than its possible terrible writing, if you will, has to be the major universal success and popularity of The Flash, and not to mention other comic book TV shows like freaking Marvel's Daredevil and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, as I've heard, is better now, which I guess is a good thing for them, and not to mention their newest stuff like Agent Carter and what have you. So there was a lot of competition this time around, which sucks for Arrow, but it is what it is. It's still a decent show. For me, if I had to rank all the DC shows that I've seen over the course of this season, I have to put Arrow at number 2. Like number 1 is definitely the Flash, but if I had to rank Arrow in all the DC TV series we've gotten this year and last year, I have to say it has to be number 2. It's definitely good, but it's not on par with other things out there, and the Flash. But that being said, I still enjoyed the season. Basically, in retrospect, this is the best I can tell you. The first half of episode 1 all the way to the mid-season finale is awesome content. Mid-season finale all the way down to the season finale of this Arrow Season 3, not as good. Definitely crap. So that's kind of how I see it. I don't know how any other people see it. I mean, I know there's still hardcore fans for it and what have you. But what do you personally think? What are your favorites? Where do you rank it, and where do you see it, in popularity and where it was good and where it was crap? I personally think Arrow Season 3 had its moments and was really good from the first episode onward to the mid-season finale. But after that mid-season finale, it just was not good. It was just crap after that. That's how I kind of see it. Let me know what you personally think. But nonetheless, let's get right down into it. Starting out with my top 5 favorite characters of Arrow Season 3. Starting up at number 5 has to go to Diggle. Diggle may not be my favorite, I may not be a fan. He may not be my fan favorite. I may not, love Diggle. I mean, I personally thought that he was kind of like, I don't want to say the crappy, I don't know. He's definitely has like a Hawkeye thing. He's like the Hawkeye of the Arrow team, of Team Arrow. He does all the work. He's definitely a badass in his own right, but you don't really care about him that much. But Arrow Season 3, if there was something good that they did, was that they changed that around and they really gave you an impact with Diggle. Like, Diggle, over the course of the season, had a big year. I mean, like, he got the kick-ass, he got to wear the Arrow suit, kick-ass with it, not to mention he got the lead Team Arrow for a good half of the season, and on top of that, he got married and had a kid, so it was a pretty big year for Diggle, and I personally think he was pretty badass over the course of the season. And also, I really enjoyed the conversations he's had with Oliver over the course of the season. He had I like to see it with their relationship is kind of like a little brother, older brother kind of relationship, where Diggle's like the older brother. He's not really a father figure. I wouldn't say that, but it's kind of like Diggle lost his brother, and he got a new brother with Oliver, and I love that kind of theme, and I think that worked to their advantage over the course of this season. Coming to number 4, it has to go to Maceo. He's obviously the newest addition of this series. We saw him, of course, in the trailers, and he was supposed to be, I guess, appointed by Amanda Waller, which, ironically enough, doesn't anybody find it weird that Amanda Waller was like nowhere to be seen over the course of the season? It's like they tried so hard to like make an impact with Amanda over the course of the Hong Kong flashbacks, and then they never showed her again. I find that kind of fun. Maybe that has to do with the actress going off to do other things, which is another thing that really did not work to Arrow Season 3's, freaking premise, because a lot of actors and actresses were doing a lot of other things over the course of the season, so it kind of fucked them over. And Amanda Waller is definitely a part of that. It's like she's the villain of the Hong Kong flashbacks, but you never see her. It's like she's like, freaking Dark Lord of the Sith. You never see her until like the last movie or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, that being said, Maceo I think was a great addition. I really liked his story arc, and his last moments in this series was possibly the last greatest moment of Arrow Season 3, and his fight with his former lover, his former wife, if you will, the mother of his dead child. That last sequence they had together was beautiful. It was beautifully done and amazing. Moving off of that, going to number 3 has to go to Katana herself. I'm a huge Katana fan. I love her. I think she's been getting a humongous push currently, with cartoons like Beware the Batman and, obviously the movies and TV shows and comic books. So she's been getting a huge push in popularity, and I think that's a good thing. And she kicked ass over the course of the season. Once again, just like Maceo, I think she was one of the best parts of the Hong Kong flashbacks, and I personally think that her last sequence in this show was amazing. Like, that fight she had with Maceo, that sword samurai fight, oh, it was beautifully done. It was amazing. It was definitely, in my personal opinion, the best fight over the course of this season. Like, it's almost better than the Oliver versus Ra's al Ghul fight. It's better than that one, and I love that fight. So that says a lot. And Katana, I think she was just awesome. Of course, they had problems with her over the course of the season because they weren't able to use her, and then they were, and then they couldn't get the actress they wanted, and then the other actress dropped down, and this actress was doing other things. It was a huge problem, but for the moments that they had Katana, I think they did her justice, and it was awesome. Moving off of that, going to number 2 on my list has to go to Roy Harper. Roy was one of the main reasons. There's 3 main reasons that got me into Arrow. Number 1, Manu Bennett as Deathstroke. Hands down. He was the main reason that got me to Arrow. Number 2 was Sarah, the first Black Canary. Black Canary is one of my favorite female superheroes from the DC universe, and I love the fact that they brought her in season 2, and she was one of the main reasons as to why I got into the series, and I'm so happy she's coming back for Legends of Tomorrow. Granted, it's better to have characters just stay dead, but it's comic books, folks. It's comic books. Everybody never stays dead forever, and at the end of the day, I just love the actress who plays her, and she was another reason that I got into the show. And last but not least, was Roy. Roy was an amazing fucking character. His character arc was awesome. I loved it when he was trying to become part of Team Arrow. He wanted to be, Oliver's sidekick. He wanted to, be a hero in his own right. He wanted to protect Thea. He wanted to do a whole lot of things, and then he had his own issues with the Mirakuru drug and, all that kind of scenarios and shit. And then he came back in season 3, and he was such a badass. He was Arsenal. He had hands down the best, coolest looking suit in all of Arrow season 3. I mean, granted, I think the Atom suit takes the cake, but if I had to name another suit that really killed it, was Arsenal. He was so badass, and granted, I joked around he had too many Power Ranger flips. Other than that, Roy was the best part of season 3, and God, I personally feel that, or one of the best rather, but I personally feel that it was a humongous, terrible decision to cut him out of the show. Granted, the actor is going off to do, bigger things. He's obviously starring in San Andreas with, Dwayne Johnson and shit. And that's all good for him, but now that Roy's gone and Thea's taken his place, there's a wound that cannot be healed, And that's all I'm going to say. That being said, going to my number 1 pick of my favorite character we got out of Arrow Season 3 has to go down to Ray Palmer, the Atom. Now, of course, Brandon Routh, I think he's an awesome dude and an awesome actor, and he obviously got fucked over in the past from playing superheroes. Obviously, he was Superman in Superman Returns, which was not the greatest comic book movie ever, but I don't think it was his fault that movie sucked, and personally, I feel that he was actually one of the better things that came out of Arrow over the course of the season. I mean, Brandon Routh, the second he came in to, the first episode to the last episode, he was consistently awesome. He was just a breeze of fresh air, and he just fucking killed it. Brandon Routh fucking killed it. I can't say it enough. And Ray Palmer, the Atom, for a character that was not originally supposed to be in Arrow Season 3, because, for those of you who don't know, if I'm not mistaken, the original character that the writers wanted was the Blue Beetle, but they were incapable of using him because Warner Brothers has bigger plans for him, which, wink wink, maybe he'll show up in the DC Cinematic Universe? I hope so. But that being said, I think going with the Atom was possibly a better choice, and it definitely succeeded, and I personally can't wait to see him lead the new team-up show in DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Oh god, Ray Palmer, just awesome. Just amazing. I still feel that he should have continued his relationship with Felicity. I know all the Olicity fans out there are stabbing me in the eyes right now, but I'm just saying, I'm not an Olicity fan. I think it's a stupid thing, and I really, that, I feel bringing that up and, putting that in perspective, doesn't anybody feel like Arrow Season 3, amongst all the other stupid shit they put in this season, doesn't it feel like it was mostly fan service for Olicity fans? I just get that feeling, when you look at the season, they did more Olicity stuff than they ever did in Season 2. The biggest Olicity thing they did has to be, that one sequence in Season 2 when he's like, oh, I love you. And in the cameras, Slade Wilson's, watching and shit with his one eye, what have you. I don't know, that's just whatever. That being said, moving off of that, going to my top 5 worst characters of Season 3 has to go to number 5, Wildcat. Wildcat is a great character from the comic books, but I don't think they did him justice in Season 3. I think the actor they chose was a terrible choice. He did not look anything like Wildcat from the comic books. I mean, hence, he's not even as big as he is. I mean, like, Wildcat is a boxer. He's a heavyweight fucking champion boxer. He's supposed to be big and buff and gigantic and have an awesome costume and have, like, bandages over his arms. He was the complete opposite of that in the freaking series. He was just done terribly, and also with a lot of characters with Season 3 of Arrow, you can tell that the actor and the character, they were incapable of using it a lot, I mean, like, after a few episodes, the actor went off to go do other things, and that was pretty much the end of that character in this show, which, to I say, terrible. He never, Wildcat did not amount to anything. He was supposed to be, the big, gigantic father, of, like, teaching superheroes, how to fight. He was supposed to be training Oliver and training, Laurel to become better and stronger heroes. And did that go anywhere? No, fucking did not. So that's why he's on the list of worst characters of Season 3. Moving off of that, going to number 4, it has to go to Laurel Lance. I mean, granted, it was set up in Season 2 that she would take the mantle of Black Canary and she would become the new Black Canary of Season 3. That was all set up, and I understood that, but at the end of the day, I still feel that Sarah was a superior Black Canary. I mean, I just loved how Sarah just killed it as the Black Canary. I mean, like, once again, as I stated, she was the main reason as to why I even got into the show, and now that she's gone and that Laurel took her place, it just didn't sit well with me, and I just personally could not get into it. It just wasn't really the thing that I could, really consider that it was a legitimate thing that they should have done. At the end of the day, I feel like Laurel, even though she served her purpose, and even though she had her moments, I will admit, she did have, her significant moments as the Black Canary, but I still feel that, like, with a lot of things with Arrow Season 3, that they just tried so hard to, like, sugarcoat things and, like, shove it down your throat and just tell you, like, hey, this is happening, you better get used to it, where it's like, it just did not come off as good as they possibly wanted it to be, and, God, I just wasn't into it. It did not serve its purpose, and I just did not really care. I'm just saying, Katie Lotz, she's the true Black Canary in my book. Let me know what you personally think. Moving off that, going to number 3, has to go to, obviously, Detective Lance, the father of the Lances, if you will. I don't know. I just never really cared for his character from day one. I always felt like on the show he was kind of like a second-rate B-cop versus, he was basically a copy of James Gordon. I never felt he was like a legitimate character on the show. And on this season, I think he was definitely very downgraded from what he was in Season 2. Like, at least in Season 2, he had, like, some kind of significant role. But in Season 3, I feel like they just tried to do something with him that they just were incapable of, perfecting. Like, they wanted him to be completely mute. They wanted him to be completely out of the loop. Then they wanted him to be a fucking villain. And then they wanted him to have, like, Lance versus Oliver kind of thing. And I don't know, I just feel like every step of the way with his character arc just did not lead to anywhere. That's just me. Moving off of that, going to number 2 on my list has to go to Malcolm Merlyn. I know, a lot of people love John Barrowman. He's like God to some people, and, he's, one of the main reasons as to why a lot of people watch the show, and I understand that. Malcolm Merlyn's an awesome character from the comic books, and John Barrowman's an awesome actor, and he's, a very interesting person outside of the character of Malcolm Merlyn. But that being said, Malcolm Merlyn, I feel like never amounted to anything in this season. He was a threat in Season 1. He was mentioned around and cameoed in Season 2. Season 3, he was training Thea to become a warrior, which never amounted to anything, which I still feel was, they should have just went off and did their own thing regardless of what happened. And on top of that, how is it possible? I want someone to, comment below, let me know. How is it possible that Malcolm Merlyn is capable of all the dark, ridiculously stupid decisions he made over this season? Why the hell did Oliver allow Malcolm to take the reign of the new Ra's al Ghul? Out of everyone in the world, out of everyone who deserves to become leader of League of Assassins, he decides, hey, I'm gonna let you just take it. My mortal enemy, who was the main reason as to why everything went to shit in this fucking season, and pretty much killed my sister, and made me have to join the League of Assassins, and possibly almost destroyed Starling City. Hey, I'm gonna let you be the leader of League of Assassins. Yeah, that has to be the most boneheaded, stupid idea and concept and decision that Oliver has ever made on this season. So yeah, Malcolm Merlyn, I definitely didn't feel he amounted to anything in this season. As much as I like the character from the comic books, and as much as I like John Barrowman, I personally did not like him in this season, and I personally feel he did not deserve to be the new Ra's al Ghul. And on top of that, I have no idea where he's going to come, what he's going to do with Season 4 as Ra's al Ghul, and yeah, he's the new Ra's al Ghul. Spoilers, he's the new Ra's al Ghul. Don't like the idea. I don't like the idea. That's all I'm going to say. Moving off of that to my number one most hated character, the character that I just did not care for or did not like at all over the course of the season, has to go down to Thea. Thea, oh my god. Thea, let's just put it this way. At the end of the Season 2, she clearly stated she was never going to return to Starling City. Season 3 comes around, she's in Corto Maltese, and she's training with Malcolm. Okay, she's training because she wants to be strong, she wants to take care of herself, she wants to be a warrior. Alright, I'll give that to her. But then they're like, hey, we want you back because Oliver can't survive in Starling City without her. Okay, whatever. You know, it's a brother-sister, thing. Okay, sure. Bring her back. And then, that's when shit just went to shit and continued going down this road of shit. It just did not amount to anything. I did not care about the character. They tried to use her in every single shape, way, or form and did not succeed in using her. They tried to, make her part of Team Arrow. Didn't work. They tried to, make her do her own thing, the same thing she was doing in Season 2, being a bar owner. Didn't work. They tried to kill her off and do a Red Hood type of thing. Didn't work. They want her to be the new fucking Arsenal. She wants to be Red Arrow. I don't fucking like that idea. I said it from day one. Her being the new Red Arrow, I don't want to say I want to kill, because that's the wrong way to put it. I want to destroy something. That's a better way to put it. Ever since that one episode came out, and she was like, hey, hey, now that you're gone, could it be cool if I be the Red Arrow? No! I don't like that idea. I don't want you to be the Red Arrow. I don't even want you to be in the show, period, Thea. No offense to the actress. She's a lovely person, I'm sure. She's beautiful as she's cutie pie. She's a piece of candy, and I can't wait for her. That being said, I don't like the character Thea. I never liked her from Season 2. I never liked her I never liked every single part of her episode dedicated to her, her character arc, everything she's done, the people she had sex with, the fights she had, the character arc she'd gone through, the freaking multiple costumes, and, freaking everything she went through this season, I did not care for, nor did I like. I don't like the idea that she's the new Red Arrow or Arsenal or whatever the fuck, Oliver called her, Speedy. I'm going to tell you one thing, people who are not, comic book fans. There was only one Speedy. There was only one Arsenal. And there was only one Red Arrow. And that person is Roy Harper. Sadly enough, he's not on the show anymore. So yeah, there's that. But there is only one Red Arrow, and that is freaking Roy. Not Thea, Roy. I don't like the idea that she's coming back to be, the new freaking Red Arrow or whatever the fuck. So yeah, she's definitely number one on the list of characters I don't like. I never really liked her, and I really hated her over the course of the season. Let me know what you personally thought in the comments below of characters. Just in general, let me know what you personally thought about my list on characters I like and characters I don't like. And what is the characters that you enjoyed and did not enjoy over the course of the season? Moving off of that, let's get into the episodes and stories that I did or did not like over the course of the season. Starting with episodes I liked, coming in number 5 has to go to episode 4, The Magician. The Magician is definitely an awesome, badass episode that's fully dedicated to Malcolm Merlyn, and is of course the setup for Ra's al Ghul as the main villain, of course. It's an amazing episode, and it really is a foretelling of, shit's about to go down, because, you know what? The League is out for blood, and Ra's al Ghul is coming to town to fucking destroy shit. I remember when I first saw that episode, I think I even mentioned in my review where I was like, oh shit, Ra's is coming, and Starling City's gonna burn because the League is coming. Yeah, that never happened. After that episode, that was pretty much the extent of Ra's al Ghul being a legitimate threat. That was pretty much it. but I still like the episode. Moving off that, going to number 4, episode 17, titled "Suicidal Tendencies." Of course, another Suicide Squad episode. Never gets old. Personally, I really liked it. I really like the addition of Cupid. I think she was an awesome character that they brought into the show. I also liked how I think they made her a little too Harley Quinn-esque rather. But I think it worked to their advantage, and the episode itself is badass. It's awesome, it's gritty, it's dark, and it's a Suicide Squad episode, and people die in Suicide Squad. And you know what? As much as I can't wait to see the Suicide Squad movie starring Will Smith, I personally still feel like it was kind of like a shot to the heart, if you will, when Deadshot died. But that being said, I still like that episode. It's a pretty badass episode. Coming number 3, going to episode 7, Draw Back Your Bow. I think, if I'm not mistaken, episode 7 was the Valentine's Day episode of Arrow. So yes, this is the introduction of Cupid as the main villain for Arrow. Personally, I love this episode. It was really well done. I liked how obsessed that Cupid was over Oliver and the Arrow persona, and how she was like fully obsessed with her. And I really enjoyed how they made her really comic book accurate, because in the comic books, Cupid is very obsessed with Oliver Queen / Green Arrow, and they did that perfectly over the course of this episode. Once again, they made her a little too Harley Quinn-esque. Maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that CW is incapable of using Harley Quinn, because obviously Margot Robbie's going to play her. Because, if I'm not mistaken, I think Stephen Amell actually stated this, that, I could be wrong about this, but I think this is what Stephen Amell said, that at the season 2 finale, I think, of Arrow, Harley Quinn was supposed to show up. But because of scheduling things and writing issues, and the fact that Warner Brothers was like, they were incapable of using it, and I think they had the same plans for season 3, where they were like, hey, we're gonna like bring in Harley Quinn for a Suicide Squad episode. Yeah, that didn't work because Margot Robbie's playing her, which I think is a better choice, because yeah, Margot Robbie's awesome. That being said, Draw Back Your Bow, badass episode. Definitely recommend checking it out. Number 2, episode 8, The Brave and the Bold. Of course, it's another Flash and Arrow crossover episode. Definitely one of the best crossover episodes. I think Flash vs. Arrow was a little better because of the fighting, but I still like this episode a little bit more, because on this particular episode, Flash and Arrow must team up to take down the notorious villain Digger Harkness, known as Captain Boomerang. And of course, it is also the premiere of Captain Boomerang on the show. Sadly, they didn't get to use him often in this show. I was really expecting that he would be featured in the episode that Manu Bennett was going to be in it. I personally thought that would have been gold, but I guess because the Suicide Squad movie coming out, they were like, hey, Jai Courtney's going to be Captain Boomerang, so yeah. We might as well just make this episode a one-shot and then never use him again and just mention him in the corner of, word of mouth. But that being said, Brave and the Bold, still a badass episode. I love the fact how, Flash and Arrow had their problems with each other trying to work together, and like how Oliver was so dark and very Batman-esque, but still pretty dark, and like Barry was just very like, this is not the way to do things, and like they were just going back and forth, and I love their banter together, and also their team up to take down Boomerang. And just overall, I also love the humongous, wide open fucking expressions on everyone who, got to see the Flash in the Arrow universe. It was just really awesome. I still think Diggle's reaction to the Flash existing and his powers is hysterical. I even loved how he, reacted in the season finale when Barry just ran away, and he's just like, I don't think I can ever get used to that. Like, it's just hysterical. But that being said, moving off of that, going to my number 1 favorite episode of the season. Pretty cliche and pretty expected from me, but it has to go down to episode 9, titled The Climb. Yes, the mid-season finale episode. Hands down the best episode they did this season. It was beautifully done. The choreography was awesome. The fight between Ra's and Oliver was badass. The themes, the goodbyes, everything that went down in this episode was beautifully done. And it was just a long time coming. And it was definitely straight out of the animated series from Batman, where like Batman and obviously Ra's had to fight shirtless with swords, and they obviously incorporated that into this episode. And as much as that pissed me off, I think it worked to their advantage. It was very well done, and it was just comic book action brought to life. It was just bad freaking ass. And plus, how many freaking TV shows can say that they killed off their hero in an episode? That's pretty badass. I mean, that was a mid-season finale. They killed off Oliver. Of course, he came back illogically with stupid-ass reasons that I still don't fully understand. Oh, hey, Katana, she was, apparently here, and hey, she brought him back to life. Bullshit, but I still like that episode. Moving off that, going to number 5, the worst episode / stories that we got in this season. Starting at number 5. Has to go to episode 1, The Calm. I don't think it's definitely a very slow episode. A lot of reasons as to why I hate it so much is mostly due to the fact that they kill off Sarah. I don't think that was the best decision, and personally, I don't think it was that great of an episode. It was just a very slow episode to a season, and that's the sad thing with Arrow writers, with the writers on Arrow, is that they always start off very slow with Arrow, which I always find weird. It's like it doesn't start to pick up until when you get halfway in, which I always find weird. It's like I have to wait till a quarter of episodes to freaking get super pumped with the series. What the fuck's the matter with you? But that being said, episode 1, The Calm, wasn't a huge fan of it. Number 4, episode 21, Al Sahim, was not a huge fan of that. Obviously, this is the episode where Oliver becomes Al Sahim and is obviously going off in his own little adventures and, trying to take down Team Arrow and, basically wreaking havoc on his own freaking city. Was not a huge fan of it. Just overall, just a terribly done episode. But that being said, moving to number 3, episode 16, titled The Offer. The Offer is basically Ra's al Ghul sucking Oliver's wiener. It's essentially okay, Nanda Parbat happened. Oliver and Diggle kind of went on to try and take down, Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins single-handedly and saved Malcolm in the process, which of course was a terrible and dimwit kind of idea, which is expected from Oliver because ironically enough, even though Oliver is the main hero of the series, he comes up with the most dim-witted fucking ideas. He's not really a smart hero. I find it kind of fun. Think about it in retrospect, every decisions he's made are always the dumb decisions. He always needs his teammates to really come up with the good decisions. If it's not Diggle, it's Felicity. If it's not Felicity, it's Roy. If it's not Roy, it's I don't know. It's just really weird. But that being said, The Offer is essentially just Oliver trying to contemplate whether or not it's a good decision for him to become the new leader of League of Assassins. For me, this is kind of the death of the series. Arrow Season 3 was kind of going off in its own kind of way, and as much as I kind of may have not loved it or hated, it was just going its own way, which I respect. But then this is the episode that kind of destroys it and does not go in the right kind of way that it should have gone. This is pretty much the episode where it's yes, I want you to be my successor, I want you to be the head of the League of Assassins, I want you to lead us, and it was just bullshit. I just never liked it. I personally, to this day, still feel that Ra's al Ghul, having respect for Oliver and wanting him to become the new leader was a terrible decision. And to this day, I still feel that in no shape, way, or form or universe would Ra's al Ghul ever decide Oliver would be a good successor. Not in the comic books, not in cartoons, not in movies, and I guess in their own TV show they got away with it, but I still feel it was a terrible decision. Moving off of that, going to number 2, episode 20, titled The Fallen. Of course, The Fallen is obviously, if I'm not mistaken, the episode where obviously Oliver finds Thea and she's obviously dead from, or obviously dying from the attack she suffered from, Ra's al Ghul attacking her. And of course, Oliver's been given a contemplation, a good ultimatum as to whether or not he should accept Ra's al Ghul's offer and become the League's new leader, or let Thea die. For me personally, in my personal opinion, all I can really say is the first 5 minutes of this episode is possibly the best part of this episode. Okay, Thea's dying, Oliver finds her, he drags her to the fucking hospital as quickly as he can, she dies, he cries, That's the end of the episode for me. That's the only real good thing of the episode. Everything else is bullshit amongst bullshit amongst bullshit. It's just stupid, stupid, stupid. They had an opportunity to do a Red Hood kind of thing. Didn't do it. Did not succeed. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Olicity moment. I'm just saying. It's just one of those. This is basically fan service for, people who wanted fucking Olicity, stuff. I'm just saying. Fucking Olicity fans, you may have gotten your wish, but I really did not like this episode. I feel it's one of the dumbest and worst episodes of the season. And I'm just saying, like, there are ways to do things, and there are ways to succeed in doing them. They did not do any of that in this episode. Moving off of that, going to number 1 is the Season 3 finale, episode 23, titled My Name is Oliver Queen. Terrible ending to the series. Well, granted, the Season 3, but wink wink, if you haven't been, listening to any of the interviews that Stephen Amell and Berlanti and crew have, basically been saying that apparently Arrow Season 4, Arrow Season 3 is the death of the current Arrow, and Arrow Season 4 will be the dawn of a new Arrow. I don't know what the fuck that means. A lot of people are saying, like, oh, well, Season 4 is basically going to be the dawn of a more comic book accurate Arrow universe, and it will be the dawn of the Green Arrow. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Based off this finale, Oliver leaves with Felicity to have their own little Dark Knight Rises moment away from Starling City, and he has retired the Arrow persona, and allegedly Diggle will be taking on the mantle as of right now. I don't know how that's going to play into Legends of Tomorrow. I'm not going to, go into that. But that being said, I have no clue what's going to go down. But as a finale in general, it just did not hold up. I personally feel like it was just kind of like a rehash of, like, it's kind of like watching the first Avengers and then watching Avengers Age of Ultron. It's kind of like they did a good job at some moments, but it kind of overall feels like a rehash of the first movie. And I think when it came to Arrow, they did it worse. You know what I mean? Like, at least Avengers Age of Ultron was great. But, like, with Arrow Season 3 finale, it just was not great at all. You know what I mean? Like, Season 2 finale was far superior. It was an amazing end to a great season. And it just had a bright, bright future at the end of this dark tunnel, which was Season 2. Season 3 was just all dark all the time. And, hey, let's just, give up everything to, it's just, once again, just another Olicity fan service kind of episode. It's just like, how do we serve their needs? Well, okay, how about we just say Oliver quits being the Arrow and goes off, on a fuck vacation with fucking Felicity of all people. It's just stupid. I'm not an Olicity guy. That's the true crime in me reviewing Arrow, but that's true. I just don't really like the Olicity thing. I personally feel that in a universe that I personally would love to be in, Black Canary is the one true love of Oliver Queen. Felicity is her own, character. She's, a character created for the show, so it is what it is. But that being said, just not a huge fan of it. And Season 3 finale, episode 23, My Name is Oliver Queen, is just not a good finale. It was a terrible finale to a pretty crappy kind of season. And that's just me. I know a lot of other people really enjoyed Season 3 of Arrow and may or may not have really enjoyed the finale. But for me, I guess the best thing about it has to be, I guess, the Atom. That's it. Pretty much the Atom and his setup to Legend of Tomorrow, which, as if you've not seen that trailer, spoilers, the Atom can now shrink. So I guess that's kind of like the best thing that came out of this finale. That being said, moving off of that, going to my top 5 expectations for Season 4. Number 5, I want to see some more freaking Batman Easter eggs. I know it's impossible, and I know it may not happen, but in a world where I would like to be in, let's just put it this way. Smallville. Let's just reference this shit. Come here. Let's just... I don't even know why I said that. It's not like you're sitting near me. Anybody who's listening, just bear with me. Smallville. There's a certain point in that series, if I'm not mistaken, where the character of Chloe or what have you, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the girlfriend of Oliver, the Green Arrow, on that show. If I'm not mistaken, there was a certain point where she left the show, and she went on like a road trip like around the world or what have you, and she was traveling all over the place. And when she came back, she had references amongst references to various characters in the DC universe, particular characters that Smallville creators were incapable of using. Hence, Wonder Woman and Batman. Yes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a specific line that she states, which is a clear Easter egg in reference to Batman, where she says that she met a billionaire with wonderful toys. I think that was a reference she made. I could be. I'm paraphrasing, of course. She could have said something differently, but I think that was an obvious reference to Batman. And if Oliver and Felicity are now gone and they're gonna do like their little road trip around the world or whatever, and do their own thing for whenever the fuck they come back for Arrow, all I can say is, if they go across country around the world and they come back to Starling City, the number one thing they got to do is reference other superheroes they met along the way. And the number one character I want to hear is freaking Batman. I'm not saying Batman needs to appear on the show, at least a cameo, maybe in like the series finale or whatever. But if there's one thing I would like, is at least a reference where he's like, "Oh yeah, I went to Gotham City and I met Bruce Wayne, billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. Pretty interesting dude." There you go. Or, we got to, our travels through Gotham, we got to see the Cape Crusader. Just something like that. I'm not saying you have to feature Batman. I'm not saying that. But at least give us a tongue-in-cheek reference to the character. That's all I want. Number 4, Green Lantern. Green Lantern is the biggest character that they've been referencing heavily on Arrow and The Flash, specifically The Flash. And there's been hints that he could end up appearing, and that he does exist. If spoilers, if you've not seen it, but in a recent episode of The Flash, they've actually referenced Hal Jordan. There's a particular episode, I think it was called Rogue Air, if I'm not mistaken. And in that episode, Captain Cold makes a reference to Ferris and why is it shut down. And Barry Allen states, he clearly states, I'm paraphrasing of course, but he clearly states that Ferris Airlines has been, or airbase has been closed because of a particular test pilot went missing. So that's an obvious reference to Hal Jordan. For me personally, I would love it if Hal Jordan becomes a staple, a newest character, a recurring character for Flash Season 2, and maybe have some cameos in Season 4 of Arrow. That's something I really want to see. I'm just saying, Green Lantern, we're not going to see him anytime soon in the movies. Thanks Ryan Reynolds. But all I can really say is that if I've seen what Flash could do with special effects and what they're capable of doing with special effects, I believe that they can accomplish a Green Lantern in Season 2. I mean, like, they just keep evolving and evolving, and if they can do it, let it happen. Green Lantern for Season 2 of Flash and Season 4 of Arrow. Come on, let it happen. Moving off of that, number 3, kind of, it's a little bit more darker kind of request and expectation for Season 4. I want Thea to die. That's kind of a douchebag thing to say. I know it's a terrible thing to say, rather, but it's true. I don't like Thea. I really don't want to see her in Season 4. I really didn't want to see her in Season 3. I felt like her end in the finale of Season 2 was correct in the way it should have ended. And then they brought her back, and I was not quite happy about that. And based off the finale, I'm really not happy about that. So, yeah, I don't want to see her in Season 4. Or if she is going to be in Season 4, don't make her Red Arrow. Don't make her Speedy. Please, just be another character. I don't care if it's freaking Artemis or Cheshire or whatever the fuck fans want, but just let it be someone else. Number 2, I want there to be a return to the Arrow. I mean, over the course of the season, we have not really had a lot of Arrow. I mean, like, when you look back at it, it feels very Dark Knight Rises in terms of, like, in Dark Knight Rises, Batman's hardly in that movie. Like, he's only in, like, 2 major sequences, which is Batman versus Bane, and Batman versus Bane at the end of the movie. That's pretty much the only times we see Batman in all of that film. And they did the same thing with Arrow Season 3. Like, Arrow is hardly in the season. And over the course, like, after, like, I want to say after the whole Thea dying thing and, like, the offer and shit like that, Arrow is really not in this show. I mean, like, in the season finale, he's not even dressed as the Arrow. And based off what we saw in the finale, the police, Starling City finest, have in their property, which is the Arrow suit and all of the gear from Arrow. So they have it in their evidence lab. So that being said, I want there to be a return to Arrow, and I want there to be an understanding and a realistic reason as to why he must come back. Maybe they're gonna try and do like a Dark Knight Returns thing where like something catastrophic happens. Maybe Hive or Damien Dark comes back and like Team Arrow isn't capable of taking him down. So it's like, Oliver must return to save his city once again, and he dons a new cape and cowl. Well, not really a cape, but a bow and arrow, if you will. A hood and mask. Let's just leave it at that. Which is the Green Arrow costume. I personally think that's what they're going to go with, and that's something I really can't wait to see for Season 4. Moving off of that, number 1, I want to care about Season 4 villain, which is Damien Dark. Based off the references in this season alone and the finale, Damien Dark and Hive will be the main villain for Season 4. That hasn't really been confirmed, but we can go on a limb here and say that yes, Damien Dark will be the main villain for Season 4, and based off what Arrow writers have done to Ra's al Ghul, I really am scared about what they're capable of doing with Damien Dark. I mean, granted, Ra's al Ghul is a bigger character than Dark. I mean, I'm pretty sure with a very obscure character like Damien, I'm pretty sure they can do amazing things with him, because there's not really that much, anticipation for him. But the biggest downfall of Season 3 of Arrow is that Ra's al Ghul sucked. It's kind of like, it's just like he was, like, ever since I saw that first teaser trailer for the season, when, like, Ra's al Ghul was supposed to come in, like, that first the last 5 minutes of that trailer where they show, like, Ra's al Ghul's hand, like, holding on to, the sword, and, like, it's, like, Oliver talking about, like, if he comes, we're all dead, the demon's head or what have you, I met someone in Nandor Burbet or what have you. Like, that was supposed to be the reckoning. The reckoning of Starling City, the coming of the Demon's Head, Ra's al Ghul, and I was so hyped, and I was waiting for, like, ever since that first episode 1, The Calm, ever since then, I was just waiting. When is he coming? When is he coming? And then when he came, yeah, I wish he didn't. Yeah, he was kind of, like, not very well done. He was not really that much of a threat, and even though he was a superior fighter in comparison to Oliver, he really did not make that much of a destruction of Starling City. Hell, freaking, he may have killed a good number of people, but hell, freaking Slade Wilson did more destruction to Starling City than Ra's al Ghul ever did. And hell, he freaking, Ra's al Ghul had an army of League of Assassins holding fucking a mech weapon, that could destroy a fucking civilization. All Slade had was like an army of Miracruz soldiers that, were taken down very easily thanks to an antidote, thanks to fucking Star Labs. So, yeah, that being said, you would think that Ra's al Ghul would have been a bigger threat, but, he didn't. So, out of Season 4, if they do Damien Dark and bring in Hive, make them a legitimate threat. I want to be scared of Damien Dark. I want to see that he's obviously a superior villain, and I want him to be kind of like how Harrison Wells was like on The Flash. Like, I want him to be consistently 3 steps ahead of Team Arrow. I want Damien Dark to consistently be ahead of Team Arrow. That's what I want. I want a reverse Flash on Arrow. That's all I really want. But that being said, top 5 things I don't want to see out of Season 4. Number 5, setups. The biggest thing that I really didn't like about Arrow Season 3 is that they tried so hard on, like, staying on point on their characters and trying to set up other things. You know what I mean? Like, they just tried too hard to set up things that they didn't really do perfectly. Like, I want the Arrow writers to stay on point. Stay consistent on what you're doing, and don't fucking try so hard to set up other things that you're possibly not even going to perfect. I mean, like, perfect the one concept you're working on now, then do the setups, Like, it was a major downfall with Season 3, and I really don't want to see it out of Season 4. Number 4, pointless flashbacks. As I said before multiple times, the Hong Kong flashbacks are the worst things to happen to freaking Arrow. Go back to the island. I want there to be a return to the the island flashbacks. And based on the season finale, we might actually get that because in the flashbacks in the season finale, Oliver states that he's going to be alone now and he's going to go back to the island. So, good thing, because the flashbacks were terrible. Even if you take the Hong Kong thing like out of context and you look at it in retrospect, they never really accomplished anything. Like, they were just going around in circles, you know, trying to catch this biomechanical weapon that never went anywhere. And at the end of the day, the only thing they did good was like kill a freaking kid. That was the extent of what they did, so or accomplished. So yeah, season 4, bring back awesome flashbacks, particularly the island. Number 3, I don't want Oliver and Felicity to be gone forever. I want there to be a reason as to why they left in the first place, and I want there to be a reason as to why they're. I don't want them to be gone forever. You know, I don't want Oliver and Felicity to be like on vacation in real time. Like in the flashbacks, I can clearly see that it's going to be Oliver on the island again. I can see that. But in real time, we still don't know whether or not Oliver and Felicity will be back to be running things in Starling City. You know, Diggle's going to do his own thing. Roy is God knows where. Thea's the new, you know, Arsenal. Laurel is the Black Canary. Malcolm is Ra's al Ghul. You know, everyone's going off doing their own things. And Oliver and Felicity are, you know, having sex in the woods, you know, on vacation. Good for them, but I want them to come back. I don't want them to be gone forever. And I don't want season 4 to be predicated on the fact that they're gone. I want there to be a return for them coming back. And I want it to make sense and be realistic enough that I can buy it, you know. So the kind of like the Dark Knight Returns thing that I mentioned prior, where it's like there must be a threat, and it all comes down to the villain. Like if the villain makes sense, they must come back, and I want them to be back. That's all I can really say. And number 1, I don't want to see a useless villain. It goes back to the villain. I know everything goes back to the villain, but it does go down to that. I mean, I don't want to see a useless villain out of season 4. I want to see Damien Darhk be a legitimate threat. I want him to be... I mean, like, he was so bad that Ra's al Ghul was scared of him. So if he's this dark and awesome, you know, no pun intended, I want you to do it justice. Make him a legitimate threat that you have to be coming back and that you need all these people to come back to just take him down. That's what I personally want to see, and that's what I hope they accomplish. But that being said, that's pretty much the worst and best things that I can really expect from Season 4. Going down to the last segment of this video, I know it's been going on as long as it is already, but it's time to end it with the top 5 Batman stories taken from the Batman universe for Arrow Season 3. Excuse me. Arrow Season 3, if there's anything that they've done consistently, is steal from Batman. And here are the number 1 top 5 stories that I personally thought were hysterical that they took from the Batman mythos for their season. Coming number 5 has to be a tie between Nightfall and the animated series. Obviously, the animated series was a huge influence in Season 3, particularly the episode where Oliver and Ra's must fight, which is obviously a clear example of Batman and Oliver fighting. And then there's the episode where Batman is on the run from, you know, Commissioner Gordon, and everyone's against Batman. Kind of similar when, you know, Team Arrow is running away from Team Lance, the Detective Lance, and the obvious police force of Starling City. Very similar. And Nightfall obviously has a lot to do with the defeat of Oliver and his return to become stronger to take down the legitimate threat of the season. Another reason as to why, and another element as to why they took from Nightfall and animated series. Moving off of that, going to number 4 is Death in the Family. Obviously, the episode where Thea dies is a clear example of Death in the Family, where Robin dies and of course comes back as Red Hood. Obviously they didn't do the Red Hood thing, but obviously they did. Thea get killed and obviously was brought back via Lazarus Pit, which is taken from Death in the Family and set up in future comic books, obviously, and under the Red Hood. Number 3, Dark Knight Returns. There's a lot of elements of Dark Knight Returns you can see in Arrow Season 3. And Makes sense. Dark Knight Returns is one of the best comic books ever made, so I can see why they did it. Number 2, Tales of the Demon, which is a collection of comic books of some of the best Ra's al Ghul comic books of the time, specifically the Denny O'Neil kind of run of Ra's al Ghul, and just is a collection of his best stories and Batman trying to take him down. I said this in the comments in one of my reviews where Tales of the Demon is basically the overall basis and plot of Arrow Season 3. So if you actually liked Arrow Season 3, check out Tales of the Demon. It's basically the plot. But number 1 has to go down to Daughter of the Demon. Obviously is a big influence in Arrow Season 3. A lot of it was taken into Arrow Season 3, which is the introduction of Ra's al Ghul, Oliver and Nyssa al Ghul getting married. The obviously courtship of Oliver to becoming, the new Ra's al Ghul. Just a lot of elements that were taken from this one specific storyline was basically spread out through tons of episodes of like the second half of Season 3. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say. So at the end of the day, let me know what you personally thought about this video. I know it's pretty long, but I had a lot to say because Arrow Season 3 is pretty long and had a lot of shit in it. So let me know what you personally thought about my favorite characters, episodes, expectations, and Batman stories. And of course, let me know what you personally thought of my worst characters, worst episodes, and of course, things I don't want to see out of Season 4. And what is your personal favorite characters and episodes and expectations of Arrow, and what are other Batman stories that were taken from the Batman mythos that were incorporated into Arrow Season 3? Let me know that I didn't mention it in this video in the comments below. And overall in the comments below, let me know what you personally thought about this video. And of course, go back to my channel to check out my Arrow Season 3 finale review. And of course, I have all the episodes of all of Arrow Season 3 reviewed on my channel, so if you've not seen a review by me, definitely go to my channel to check it out. Also check out my Legends of Tomorrow first look trailer review, and check out my season finale review of The Flash. And of course I'll be doing I already did it for Gotham, now I've done it for Arrow, now it's time to do another for The Flash. So next week, I think on Tuesday, I'll be doing another one of these for The Flash, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And just check out my videos that I've done in the past, like my Avengers Age of Ultron movie review, my Mad Max Fury Road movie review, and of course my Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice teaser trailer review. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. Hope you guys enjoyed this, man. John 12.